Continuing with Exodus chapter 9. Yahweh said to Moses, "Rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh and tell him, 'This is what Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, says: Let my people go that they may serve me. For this time I will send all my plagues against your heart, against your officials, and against your people, that you may know that there is no one like me in all the earth. For now I would have stretched out my hand and struck you and your people with pestilence, and you would have been cut off from the earth. But indeed, for this cause I have made you stand, to show you my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth, because you still exalt yourself against my people, and that you won't let them go. Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause it to rain a very grievous hail, such as has not been seen in Egypt since the day it was founded, even until now. Now, therefore, command that all your livestock and all that you have in the field be brought into shelter. The hail will come down on every man and animal that is found in the field and isn't brought home, and they will die. Those who feared Yahweh's word among the servants of Pharaoh made their servants and their livestock flee into the houses. Whoever didn't respect Yahweh's word, left his servants and his livestock in the field. Okay, so hey, God is saying, look, I could have taken you out, but I haven't yet. Why? Because I actually am doing this to show off that I'm in control, and for you to know that, and for everybody else to know this too. Okay, this is a showdown between powers, and you still don't respect me. You still won't surrender. But there are people who actually do respect Pharaoh, respect Yahweh's word, and will actually, are part of Pharaoh's group, but they're still like, well, okay, yeah. So they bring their people in. Okay, which again, if you remember, we talked about this at the very beginning. This might be a textual link that suggests that maybe the midwives that were over everything were not Hebrews because they feared the Lord, and then we have that same word here. It's weak, but it could be a thing. Okay. Yahweh said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand toward the sky, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, on man and on animal, and on every herb of the field throughout the land of Egypt." Moses stretched out his rod toward the heavens, and Yahweh sent thunder and hail, and lightning flashed down to the earth. Yahweh rained hail on the land of Egypt. So there was very severe hail, and lightning mixed with the hail, such as had not been in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. The hail struck throughout all the land of Egypt, all that was in the field, both man and animal, and the hail struck every herb in the field and broke every tree in the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, there was no hail. Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron and said to them, "I have sinned this time. Yahweh is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. Pray to Yahweh, for there has been enough of this mighty thunderings and hail. I will let you go, and you shall stay no longer." Moses said to him, "As soon as I have gone out of the city, I will spread out my hands to Yahweh. The thunders shall cease, and there will not be any more hail, that you may know that the earth is Yahweh's. But as for you and your servants, I know that you don't yet fear Yahweh God." The flax and the barley were struck, for the barley had ripened and the flax was blooming, but the wheat and the spelt were not struck, for they had not grown up. Moses went out of the city from Pharaoh and spread out his hands to Yahweh, and the thunders and the hail ceased, and the rain was not poured on the earth. When Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunder had ceased, he sinned yet more and hardened his heart, he and his servants. The heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he didn't let the children of Israel go, just as Yahweh had spoken through Moses. Okay, so there's a couple of interesting things. I don't know if you've seen the movie Prince of Egypt, but there's always this scene where during the song about the different plagues that are happening, there's always like these fireballs, and Moses has his staff, and he's walking and he's looking so epic, right? And fireballs, and every time I'm like, what's with those fireballs? Like, what do we do? What is this? What is this? Well, actually, there's a textual reason for that. Okay, and this translation and a bunch of other translations has the word lightning. Let's see, can I get that to show up here? There we go. Okay, so there's lightning. Okay, and this word lightning, the word is it it probably makes sense as lightning, but it's like fire mixed with hail. And like, how do you have fire and ice? Like, how do you have that? So text people have like it's just been fire, like fire and ice mixed, like fire around the thing. Well, again, we got to remember that this is Hebrew that we're working with, and so it's a language with very few words that get reused and repurposed to mean a bunch of different things. And so I think that scholarship has really landed on no, this is lightning. It makes sense that it's lightning. We got thunder, we got other stuff going on. So it's probably lightning. And the fireball thing is just a way of expressing this idea. And if lightning is actually hitting the ground and like lighting the grass on fire, where that there could easily be fire too in this whole thing. But this is a textual thing where the translation has caused people to be like, wow, there's fireballs falling. And hence we have this animation. So like it's in the text, but it probably means lightning. But translation is hard work, and we'll get into a couple more translation things as we go along with this, going along. So that'll be so fun as we get going on. Okay, so yeah, they're doing their thing, and we're ready to roll on with all of this. I don't remember if there's anything else with that. Okay, all right, okay. Chapter 10. Yahweh said to Moses, "Go in to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the heart of his servants, that I may show these my signs among them, and that you may tell in the hearing of your son and of your son's sons what things I have done to Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that you may know that I am Yahweh." Another fun textual thing is that this the things I've done in Egypt, different translations have different wording for like this things I have done. And some of them like the word is actually like almost like it could be messing with, like a cat playing with a mouse, like I am messing with them so that they know that I'm powerful. And we just saw in the previous chapter, God's like, I could have wiped you out. Like if this was really about just getting rid of you and getting the problem out of the way, that would have been done already. But that's not what's going on. This is to demonstrate that I am Lord of all the earth. Okay? That's why I'm messing with them. I'm toying with them. I'm letting this prolong, okay? Because I want them to know. And the thing is, there are people who have clearly already started to get the message, right? Like you've got his wise men being like, this is the finger of God. Like, why are you still fighting on this? And people being like, oh, he said that we should bring people in. We're bringing people in. Okay. Like there are other people who get it, but Pharaoh is stubborn. He is willing to harden his heart. He is going to hold his line. He's gonna be like, no, I'm the one who's in charge. Okay. Notice that we already had we actually had some timeline stuff going on where it was saying that okay, we've taken out the barley and the flax. Okay, that's been taken out. So actually, this might not be like okay, it was a week later and he showed up, and then there was the next day and the next day. It could be that this is actually spread out over months because barley and flax is at certain time, and then you got a couple months, and then we have what's happening here. And so this could actually be prolonged and stretched out so that we can really cause problems for Egypt. Okay, right. So let's carry on with that. All right. Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said to them, "This is what Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, says. How long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go that they may serve me. Or else, if you refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring locusts into your country, and they shall cover the surface of the earth, so that one won't be able to see the earth. They shall eat the residue of that which has escaped, which remains to you from the hail, and shall eat every tree which grows for you out of the field. Your houses shall be filled, and the houses of your servants, and the houses of the Egyptians, all the Egyptians, as neither your fathers nor your fathers' fathers have seen since the day that they were on the earth to this day." He turned and went out from Pharaoh. Pharaoh's servants said to him, "How long will this man be a snare to you? Let the men go that they may serve Yahweh their God. Don't you know that Egypt is destroyed?" Come on, Pharaoh. Like, get with the program, man. Moses and Aaron were brought back again to Pharaoh. Pharaoh's like, fine, whatever, okay. And he said to them, "Go, serve Yahweh your God. But who are those who will go?" Moses said, "We will go with our young and with our old. We will go with our sons and our daughters, with our flocks and our herds, for we must hold a feast to Yahweh." He said to them, Yahweh be with you if I let you go with your little ones. See, evil is clearly before your faces. Not so. Go now with you who are men and serve Yahweh, for this is what you desire. And they were driven out of Pharaoh's presence. Okay, again, text, translation, difficult work here. Okay, so we have this idea where Pharaoh's like, okay, fine, I'll let you go, but leave the women and children here because then you have to come back, right? You can go, that's fine. But you have to come back for me, okay? You have to come back and you have to do what I say because I'm going to hold your people hostage. And Moses is like, no, we're all going, all of us. And Pharaoh's, and this translation here, Yahweh be with you. It's like, yeah, right, okay, yeah, yeah, whatever. You think God's gonna make that happen? That is not going to happen, okay? So that's the idea that's behind this whole thing, and you can see that, right? Like, no, you're not gonna go. And then he drives them out. Okay, so here again, Pharaoh is like, okay, I can be reasonable. And he's like, but wait, you're going to be unreasonable, so no, never mind. And he holds his line again. He is stubborn. He's like, no, I'm not losing my slaves. Yahweh said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt, for the locusts, that they may come up on the land of Egypt, and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail has left." Moses stretched out the rod over the land of Egypt, and Yahweh brought on an east wind on the land all that day and all night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. The locusts went up over the land of Egypt and rested in all the borders of Egypt. They were very grievous. Before them there were no such locusts as they, nor will there ever be again. For they covered the surface of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened. And they ate every herb of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. There remained nothing green, either tree nor herb of the field, through all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron in haste, and he said, "I have sinned against Yahweh your God and against you. Now therefore please forgive my sin again, and pray to Yahweh your God, that they may also take away from me this death." Moses went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Yahweh. Yahweh sent an exceedingly strong west wind, which took up the locusts and drove them into the Red Sea. There remained not one locust in all the borders of Egypt, but Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he didn't let the children of Israel go. Okay, another textual thing that's going on here is we have this whole east-west thing. Okay, I'm going to try and do this. We'll see if this works. Okay, so really awesome drawing that I have here. Okay. Right? So what we have is we've got the land of Egypt. Okay, up here is Jerusalem. Okay, and then this is like the Red Sea, the Reed Sea. Okay, we got that, and then this is the Delta of the Nile, and then down here is like Sudan, and so apparently, historically, they come up from this way. The locusts come up this way, and so like if you have this like northeasterly wind, that could make sense that it would bring all of the stuff up. Okay, but then we've got this east wind. Okay, but then we've got a west wind that blows them back this way. But the word isn't actually west. Okay, this very strong west wind is actually the sea wind. So there have been some people who have wondered if the people living in Jerusalem are like, oh, well, the wind coming from the sea has to be over here, so it's driving west. So maybe that's what's going on with this. That could be it, like maybe that's it. Or maybe, if it's going to blow it in here, then it would have to be a west wind anyway. And then the east wind, maybe it came from over here. They came, like this locust thing is real, okay? Like locusts actually happen, all right? So like maybe. Okay, there's some lack of clarity as to what's going on here, and I just want you to be aware that people debate what's going on with this, and if the people who were writing, or the later translators, or whatever, the people working on this, compiling it, maybe they like changed the language so it fit with the geography of the people who are reading it, or we don't know. Okay, but that is a thing that people argue about, and it's a thing that they talk about. It's out there, so I'm letting you know. Okay. Right. Okay. But again, this is something that does happen. Locust things are a real problem in this part of the world, and that would be devastating. In fact, if you notice, they says, like this is that you take away from me this death. Like there's even this word, of like this is a deadly plague. Well, why is it deadly? Well, because their food source is gone, right? Like you don't have food anymore, right? So that's not going to be sustainable. So he recognizes that this is a really dangerous thing. Okay. So there you go. That's what's going on with this. Okay. Yahweh said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand toward the sky, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt." Moses stretched out his hand toward the sky, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt for 3 days. They didn't see one another, and nobody rose from his place for 3 days, but all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. Okay, I'm just going to pause here real quick to talk about this. So, this darkness that can be felt, like that is such a strange, intense thing, right? Like, what? So, this leads a lot of scholars to think that this could be a really bad dust storm, which does happen in this part of the world. And apparently, they do last about 3 days. So, this isn't just like God turning off the light. Okay, this is God actually like using this natural phenomenon potentially that is so dark that but like it gets it you feel it because it's dust that's just crush. It sounds really bad. That sounds really bad. But we're also attacking Pharaoh's divine father, right? So Pharaoh is claiming divinity because he is the son of the sun god. Okay, and so now we're saying Yahweh has control over that too. He can just make that go away, no problem, right? Like like this. Here we go. We can destroy everything that goes on. Pharaoh, your job is to maintain stability, and you can't do that. You don't have control over the Nile the way you're supposed to. You don't have control over the creatures. You don't have control over sickness. You don't have control over anything. And by the way, your divine father that you claim, he doesn't have any control over Yahweh either. We're just going to get rid of him. Boop. Okay, we're going to blot him out, and you get to live in this horrific experience for 3 days, okay? Pharaoh called Moses and said, "Go, serve Yahweh. Let your flocks and your herds stay behind. Let your little ones go also with you." So Pharaoh's like, "All right, I'll be reasonable. All right, man, I get it. I'm seeing this. I'll be reasonable. All you all can go. Just leave your animals behind, so you have to come back for those, and then you won't be out." But Moses said, "You must also give into our hands sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice to Yahweh our God. Our livestock also shall go with us. Not a hoof shall be left behind, for of it we must take to serve Yahweh our God, and we don't know with what we must serve Yahweh until we come there." But Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he wouldn't let them go. Pharaoh said to him, "Get away from me. Be careful to see my face no more, for in that day you see my face, you shall die." Moses said, "You have spoken well. I will see your face no more." Okay, and we're just going to keep rolling into the next chapter because I think that this is important. But hold on to this for a second, okay? So, chapter 11. Yahweh said to Moses, "I will bring yet one more plague on Pharaoh and on Egypt. Afterwards, he will let you go. When he lets you go, he will surely thrust you out altogether. Speak now in the ears of the people, and let every man ask of his neighbor, and every woman of her neighbor, jewels of silver and jewels of gold." Yahweh gave people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people. Moses said, "This is what Yahweh says. About midnight I will go into the middle of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne, even to the firstborn of the female servant who is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of livestock. There will be a great cry throughout the land of Egypt, such as there has not been, nor will be any more. But against any of the children of Israel, a dog won't even bark, or move its tongue against man or animal, that you may know that Yahweh makes a distinction between the Egyptians and Israel. All these servants of yours will come down to me and bow down themselves to me, saying, 'Get out, and with all the people who follow you, and after that I will go out.'" He went out from Pharaoh in hot anger. Okay, so the text, like chapter 8 or chapter 10 ends with, "Get out. If you see me again, you're dead." And Moses is like, "Yeah, okay." So some people have thought, all right, this is Pharaoh, or this is Moses being a little bit sarcastic. Yeah, sure, whatever you say. Okay. It's also very clear that Moses is like, "Dude, you're threatening me with death." Me? Okay, like we're talking about you guys all dying. We're not talking about me dying. Look, I'm not scared of you at all. Okay, like, this is whatever you say, man. You can claim that you have power all you want, but that's not happening. And then there's a little bit of question about whether we're jumping right to like Yahweh giving this to Moses now, like the I will bring yet one more plague. Like God just downloads this information to him and he's like, oh, let me tell you this. Or if it's actually that Yahweh had said to Moses, and different translations have the Yahweh had said. So apparently there's some textual stuff there too of like, is this something that happened before? It seems like it happened before, or is it happening right now? But either way, what happens is Moses says, get out of here and make certain, because you're in trouble, man. Get out of here. And Moses immediately replies, and the chapter break makes this hard to see, but Moses immediately says, hey, by the way, this is what God says. Midnight, I'm taking you all out, okay? Taking out the firstborns. That's what's happening. And then you guys are going to come crawling to me, begging me to leave, and only then will I get out of here. And it's also possible that if it is true that the servants come and tell him, hey, please get out of here, that it might be the case that Pharaoh actually doesn't come and see him, or he doesn't come back to see Pharaoh. It could be that they come and relay the message for Pharaoh later on in chapter 12. Okay, so like this is all part of the textual stuff that's going on. I just want you to be aware that this is all stuff that people think about, wonder about, work through translations about, all that stuff. But Pharaoh says, you're in trouble, man. Don't come back. And Moses says, I ain't leaving until you drive me out. See ya. Okay, and he storms out with hot anger. That's some intense stuff going on there. Okay, all right. Yahweh said to Moses, Pharaoh won't listen to you, that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh, but Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he didn't let the children of Israel go out of his land. Chapter 12. Yahweh spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be to you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, on the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to their father's houses, a lamb for a household. And if the household is too little for a lamb, then he and his neighbor next to his house shall take one according to the number of the souls. You shall make your count for the lamb according to what everyone can eat. Your lamb shall be without defect, a male a year old. You shall take it from the sheep or from the goats. You shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it at evening. They shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel, on the houses in which they shall eat it. They shall eat the meat in that night, roasted with fire, with unleavened bread. They shall eat it with bitter herbs. Don't eat it raw, nor boil it at all with water, but roasted with fire with its head, its legs, and its inner parts. You shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, but that which remains of it until morning you shall burn with fire. This is how you shall eat it. With your belt on your waist, and your sandals on your feet, and with your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is Yahweh's Passover. For I will go through the land of Egypt in that night, and I will strike all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and animal. I will execute judgments against the gods of Egypt. I am Yahweh. The blood shall be to you for a token on the houses where you are. When I see the blood, I will pass over you, and no plague will be on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Egypt. This day shall be a memorial to you. You shall keep it as a feast to Yahweh. You shall keep it as a feast throughout your generations by an ordinance forever. So here we have another textual thing where it seems like we've jumped back in time, because it's like, hey, by the way, God had told them, and so then they told the people, hey, this is when we're out of here. Like they seem to have the date. Right, the 14th, like that's when we're going. So on the 10th, you need to be getting ready stuff. You need to get your stuff. You need to do. So you're gonna get this. You're gonna have your belt. You're gonna tuck this in. And by the way, you're gonna repeat this again in the future, so you remember what's going on here. But this is what you're doing. You're getting ready to go. We're making this happen. It seems like there was clarity on the date from this text that this is something that happened prior to the moment that we're having, so that we can kind of see the backdrop for what got prepared, right? Because they also asked their neighbors and were like, hey, give us some stuff, man. This is that whole plundering thing that we talked about before. So this is going on with all of this. Okay. But we also have this interesting, we've got the Passover, we've got the language there, but then we also have this, when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and no plague will be on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Egypt. Okay, and there is some more textual stuff going on. Okay, is it God going through and wrecking everybody, and he's like, oh, I'm just going to skip you guys because I see the blood? Or is it something different? Okay, so let's just go to 2 Samuel 4. Okay, all right, so now Jonathan, Saul's son, had a son who was lame in his feet. He was 5 years old when the news came about Saul and Jonathan out of Jezreel, and his nurse picked him up and fled. As she hurried to flee, he fell and became lame. His name was Mephibosheth. Okay, lame, same word as Passover. Is that interesting? Okay, that's one. Okay, 2 Samuel's 5. The king and his men went to Jerusalem against the Jebusites, the inhabitants of the land, who spoke to David, saying, the blind and the lame will keep you out of here, thinking, David can't come in here. Okay, so again, lame, same word. Okay. 1 Kings 6. So Ahab sent all the children of Israel and gathered the prophets together to Mount Carmel. Elijah came near to all the people and said, how long will you waver between two sides? If Yahweh is God, follow him, but if Baal, then follow him. Waver. Passover. Interesting. Then we scroll down. Okay. They took up a bowl which was given them, and they dressed it, and they called on the name of Baal from morning even until noon, saying, Baal, hear us. But there was no voice, and nobody answered. They leaped about the altar which was made. It's like leaping, dancing. Same word. See, this is an example of how these words in Hebrew, like it's the same word used for, like, in this case, being lame or like dancing about. Okay, like crazy dancing. Okay, like wow. Okay, but let's go just one more place. Okay, so this is Isaiah 31. As birds hovering, so Yahweh of armies will protect Jerusalem. He will protect and deliver it. He will pass over and preserve it. Okay, so pass over, of course, is the same word, but it's in the context of protect. Okay, so like this word has a lot of different meanings. So this makes some people think that when he says, I will pass over, that it probably actually is more of I will protect. So he's going to see the blood and be like, okay, this door, I'm going to stand here. I'm going to stand guard. We're going to let the death angel, which we're going to read about later, going to come by, but we're not coming in here. Okay, we're protecting you. Okay, this is, we're doing that. So like this Passover thing is very interesting from a textual standpoint. So I just thought I'd pass that on as well. But we are setting up the feast, and we'll read more about that next time. But now we've got the background of what's going on, and then we'll hit up what happens from here.